Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Today is the 11th of December, and this is post NFP. I mean, post FOMC. So we had FOMC yesterday, and now price is surprisingly moving down bearish. It should be moving up. We should be seeing price move up. So, this is quite interesting here. What's going on? But, it's still not too surprising because, yesterday's daily candle still closed bullish. See, I got a bullish closure over there. Yesterday's daily candlestick. Yeah, I mean, like, pretty much the same thing that happened all the way back here last time Powell spoke and got us rate cuts. We had the next day close bearish, and then the day after that, price continued to rally bullish. So I might see a similar situation like that here. Powell spoke, closed bullish. Next day, closed bearish. And then from today is what? Thursday? Friday? From Friday, we can start moving up again. Start breaking above resistance here. But this already looks good. Sorry, chat, give me 1 sec. Be right back. Oh, audio is off, or just put that back on. Yeah, so we're waiting for price to actually move down would be good. But if it moves up, then we're just about what is this? 100 pips or so from the daily flip. But I feel like the bullish momentum could be coming in like literally at any point. Got some nice range over here on the left-hand side. On the 15-minute time frame, breaking above some highs. Definitely is more of a counter trend, but I do like the way that's kind of looking over there. For potential break with the London Open. It's not like we're trading heavily a bearish over here. What broker do I use? IC Markets. Got some resistance here on the 5-minute. Looking at breaking these wick highs. That's the resistance over there. See if we can pull this up a bit more. We'll see, because we got clean range on the left-hand side here. If we break above that resistance, you know, price could potentially fill this area here. It's about 86 pips. But if it doesn't, it's an interesting thing, you know. Price is having this little flirt of a idea of selling off. It's flirting with the idea of selling off. It's selling off already today on the daily. So maybe we should see what happens here, because if it breaks above this zone, there's really nothing much standing in its way to like at least give us a, you know, like 20 pip push. We got like a 30-minute clean range over there as well. The sells look a lot more choppy, as you can see. You know, you have like support areas here. You got wicks, you got rejections, you got that SMA. The sells are facing a lot more resistance. You know, got that 8 SMA on the hourly time frame. Like the cleanest path is upwards. The only way I see the sells playing out is just due to the daily direction and volume that we currently have right now, which is bearish. But it would be too soon for me to take a break here. I would actually need to see this thing break first and then give me a setup and then to continue like selling off. So the only thing that kind of looks good here is a buy at this point. See if I can get stuck in. Might be flirting with the idea of faking out sellers. Yeah, it could be. It could actually be. Because, you know, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense why we sell off when we get FOMC. I mean, it happened before, but it was not such a strong sell-off on that one. On that time, last time Powell spoke, it was kind of like a doji bearish candle. Mm. Yeah, so let's see. Hello, bro. Hey, what's up? What's up? I think it's making a triangle pattern for a dump in the daily. Triangle pattern. What is that? I didn't know we're gonna make triangle patterns. Can we do triangle patterns? Price comes down, moves up, comes down again. That's a triangle pattern. You gotta go onto Discord and you gotta send us a chart over there. Gotta wait for volume to come in. Like London session already has small little pushes here and there, but nothing too crazy. It's like still setting up. It would be nicer if the 5-minute candlesticks came up first. Like if this candlestick shot up first like this, and then we get a new 5-minute candle that makes the break. That would be a lot nicer. See a 15-minute over here. That's what we're waiting for. We're just waiting for that wick there to break. It should be good. Should be smooth sailing upwards. See how we approach that zone. It is a counter trend move. Though we're not waiting for the daily to flip, specifically because of the FOMC yesterday. If this thing truly wanted to go down, it would have already been moving down at this time. Because being down 0.27% at the London Open after FOMC, you know, that's just still pretty low. If it wanted to be down, it would already be down. So that's why we would be waiting for breaks of these lows and then a setup for continuation. See, maybe it'll do one last liquidity grab before moving up like yesterday. It's making inverted head and shoulders on the 15. Got nice inverted head and shoulders on the 15. SMA over there. 1 minute's looking pretty good. Little accumulation breakout here. The question is, could the breakout come sooner? I think we would rather wait for that high to get broken. I think that would be the safest area over here if we can break that wick. Because we still gotta try and avoid like any sort of a daily direction moves right over here. So you see it's still in that daily direction, what do you call it, like characteristic to move down. So we don't want to get stuck in too early. Rather get stuck in later and be a bit sure about it. You trade a 1-to-1? Yes, most of the time I trade like a 1-to-1. The only thing that changes is gonna be my risk. How much percent I risk on any trade. Maybe like 1-to-1. You know, sometimes I hold a bit longer anyway. But setups here can run way more than a 1-to-1. Way more. It's just, you know, it kind of just depends on what you're trying to do. I'll just say, like, if you're trying to hold, awesome. You know, but setups here definitely still run a lot more than a 1-to-1. You know what I mean? So that's why sometimes I hold a bit more than a 1-to-1. So yeah, just hold a bit more than a 1-to-1. Like this morning, for example, I held a bit more than a 1-to-1 because I'm still anticipating with the FOMC. See how it spiked up here, filling up the range. I'm still expecting with the FOMC that a price can really skyrocket. Oh, that's a trade I like. Nice, man. You were early on this. Yes. Yeah, today we're gonna be a little bit more adaptive here to the FOMC. So, but we still need to see, like, I don't want to get, if this candle breaks, I wouldn't get in on this candle because I know it's due for a pullback. If it breaks like this, man, next 5-minute candle's got to pull back though. It's got to pull back, so I don't want to get stuck in any pullbacks. So I want to see this thing break, so I want to see strong closes as we approach this level. Avoid any unnecessary pullbacks. It's a pullback sometimes which get you, you know. Setup could be correct, but the pullback is what gets you. At your entry, we have a resistance to the left. Though at my entry, we're breaking resistance here. I'm not going to wait for a candle to close. You know, sometimes you wait for a candle to close and price just goes without you. On the resistance, we do have resistance here, but I'm going to get it on the break of the highs. Because you see, we don't have anything. As price comes up, it's just clean traffic all the way up towards like 42.27 over there. So we just got to get through that level, as you said, and then I think it'll be pretty good. But you know, it's a time we're trading right now. This is the London Open. So with the London Open, there should be enough volume that when price breaks this high, that we're going to continue to move upwards. Do. The next 5-minute candle will also close. The 15 and 30-minute, that might work in favor of buys. See, or it just rejects and then dumps. You just see it completely melt. Just hope it doesn't set anything up here. I hope there's no distribution that's gonna come from here. because then we'll be getting on a we'll be getting in a profit stage. Like for example, if it starts to break now, that's gonna be the case. If it pulls up right now from this point, it's gonna create like almost inverted head and shoulders, like a fake out over here, and then break above these highs. It'll be getting on the secondary entry. That's gonna be about 14, 16 pips in. So we might even see a pullback just based off of that. Sideways, yes. Got sideways action here. I wish we were already trading like bullish, because you know we're still in the inception of the bull run. There's like a pretty big sideways consolidation here. If you zoom out a bit more, it's like this whole general region, correct? So at this point, we're trying to catch a big move, but what's happening is, since we're not yet in the bull run, we might miss out on the first entry, which is going to be right here. There's a potential entry coming in at the break of the high, but it's still risky because that's going to be the first, one of the first entries. So I'd rather wait for maybe a more solid confirmation above 42.18. But this is that whole zone, you know. Look at this whole sideways movement right here. It's just accumulating all these orders. Gonna have to time this properly, I guess, because 5 minute as well is about to close in 2 minutes. I don't want to see this 5 minute trigger me in. What we gonna do? Coming down for them lows. Definitely at a point A, we're gonna see a big move come out of this, or at least a move. We're gonna see a move come out of this. If it breaks below here, or breaks above here, with the potential for an earlier entry over here. For price to move up. It's like, have you ever heard that saying, the calm before the storm? This is what gold is doing right now. What's going on here? What is it waiting for? The 30 minutes queue. Let's see, 1 minute. Oh, 1 hour. It could be the hourly time frame. You see, the 1 hour still looks clean. There's less candles over here. You just got like, 3 candlesticks. It still looks clean, but the low time frames look quite choppy. But it could be waiting for this HTF to set up. Maybe it's gonna do like a resistance kind of thing. Resistance, and then next candlestick open up, such as this, to break above. Or it's going to create that resistance and then continue to move downwards. Obviously, that's still an option. Still moves downwards like this and then just melts off. Waiting for retail traders to lose patience. Oh, yes, that's true. I wish we were already moving up. Then I'll just get like an earlier entry, like literally right here by 42.17. If we were already kind of like in that move. So like, if, for example, for what we're waiting for above these highs, what I'm waiting for, price to do this, and then if we're already in that move, and then it will just be like pretty straightforward. But you see, we're still at the bottom. We're still here. So we haven't yet seen this. We're anticipating this from when we get our entry. It's hesitating a lot to break key areas, I'll tell you that much. Even here or here. Even here. It's just holding this little mini console. Just waiting, just gearing up. How to calculate lot size and pips. You gotta go on Google and you gotta write exactly that same question you just asked, but now copy paste it on Google. Or copy paste on ChatGPT. Or better yet, go on to BBPips.com and then go through BBPips University. That would be the best thing that you're going to do for yourself today. There's going to be one good decision you're going to make out of your day here today. It's going to go on BBPips. Go on BBPips and then go through that small little curriculum that they have over there. That will be the number one best decision that you're going to make for the day. You know, because every day we're going to make a few good decisions every day. So this is going to be one of those decisions. Don't go on YouTube and start looking for videos. Right? Just go through the curriculum. Open up a demo account and then experiment. Experiment like, you know, like what does one lot size look like with 10 pips? They say, okay, man, that's too much. It's too much money. Then you got to try, let's see how much does 0.10 cent lot, a 10 cent lot look with like, you know, 10 pips. So you're going to know for every 10 pip trade that you have, it's going to cost you this amount of money. So you've got 20 pip stop loss using that same 10 cent lot. It's going to just cost you times 2 of whatever that was. And you got to see how much it's going to cost you. Because, you know, sometimes I think depending even on the broker, sometimes the pricing is slightly, it's like if you both got the same entry, one guy on one broker can lose more and the other guy can lose less. So you got to also see with your broker how it is. Demo is definitely the best way to figure it out. Yes, exactly. About 2 minutes over here if candlestick close. See if it can give us a push up. Oh, that one is pushing quite heavy. Do I want to get in that one? All right, you got like how many more minutes here? It's distributed. I guess so. I guess we might just have to hit it. It's gonna have to hit it if it breaks. So I told you, it's in the first distribution phase. That's the thing. By the time it's approaching my entry, that's going to be a potential TP for this area over here. Well, not yet. It could still push a little bit more, but we want to see calm movement. So the more it sets up like this, the better. Creates a resistance here again. The better it would be. You know, a trade like this, we're going to know... I tend to know like quite quick how this is gonna go, because this is the breakout. This is the main, because this is a main breakout. This is a breakout that a lot of people are gonna see. You know, a lot of people on the charts right now looking at gold. This is a main breakout, so we're gonna get know pretty quickly how this trade is gonna go over here. It's a pretty obvious breakout. Oh, the 15 minute still feeling a bit extended over there. So, you know, manage your risk on this. Come on, Powell, do us some justice today. Can the market start pricing in these rate cuts? Five-minute just closed. Got a new 5-minute open. See if we can break on this candle. Create that bottom wick. So you candlestick close above that resistance too. Damn, so close. It needs to break on this candle. It's got 10 seconds. All right, I'm not gonna take that anymore because it's not breaking. It's not breaking the way I want to see it break. That's doing like some low volume type thing. Maybe it feels a bit risky at that point. Could still play out, but it's not what I wanted to see. And we got 3 minutes for this 15-minute to close. See, it's like pretty big, pretty strong 15-minute over here. It's pushed up already about like 50 pips. So I think the best case scenario would be if price on this 15-minute just retraced a little bit more. And just to be okay with like missing out on that. Yeah, that would be, would that be the break? I think that would be, maybe not yet. It's like losing volume. That's not what I want to see. Like as we're approaching these levels, I just want to see clean, strong breaks. It shouldn't come like literally like 0.1 pip to breaking or something pretty small like that. And then it hesitates like, look at this. This is another 5-minute. Look, oh, okay. Now it broke in the last seconds. Like literally, what kind of breaks are these? Broke in the last 5 seconds over there. How'd you even freaking... Yeah, I don't like the looks of that break. Oh wait, even if it moves up, whatever. Low volume node. Yeah, sometimes it does that. I've noticed sometimes the market does that little thing where it like, even if it wants to move in your direction, it does a kind of a trick. It does like a kind of a trick that whereby it tries to make it difficult to get in. You understand what I mean? Like, did you see how it came so close to entries, but it didn't break where I needed it to break? That's why there's a certain amount of pips that I wait like to see if it can break strongly, but it came right to that amount, hesitated, and on the candle that broke, did you see how it broke there in the last like 4 seconds? In hindsight, it looks like, oh, it just moved up here. But dude, this thing broke in like 4 seconds. You know, if you're gonna execute here, it's a very difficult situation to execute. It's a very nuanced thing. You know, when you've been trading breakouts for a while, you start to realize there's very nuanced things that the markets do whenever they want to act like in a certain way. And it's a pretty big breakout too, so a lot of people can see this. So it's like really messing with people here. It's doing some psychology work. You see how the freaking 5-minute now is like reflipping, trying to pull in those orders. It's a pretty obvious zone this is. Funny will be if the 15-minute doesn't close resistance. Yeah, in 15-minute, look, you see 1 minute here, and then the 15-minute's gonna act as if like it was not trying to close that resistance there before it closed. Like just pulling up right now, gonna reject this area possibly. Look at that. It's a very obvious zone. That's what I'm gonna say. That's why you gotta be very careful. That's why I said there's a breakout already happening here. You know, that breakout already hit like 24 pips. It's paying these guys out. That's why I said like this area is gonna be a secondary entry. These are the guys getting paid out here. They got like 24 pips. But you see, the thing about that trade is it's happening in a time where it's like still early. We don't even have the direction yet, really. You know what I mean? So that's why it would have been nice if we had the direction already. Then we could have already got it in here. Could have gotten in here and like gotten in sooner. So as you can see, we're mentioning these things. If you're paying attention, you'll see. You gotta open up that third eye chakra. Wen Sheng Lim, thank you for the sub. I posted my analysis on Discord. Do check it out, or just for the Discord, I'd like to hear people's thoughts. Oh, nice. Let's see if this trade here can be redeemed. It's accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Got like some all right. Is this what is this? Gold on the 4 hour. Oh, this is a 4 hour. Man, for the 4 hour, it's a pretty big time frame to be waiting for these moves. Yeah, but I think like, you know, if you're trading the 4 hour, you got to focus on the macro fundamentals, because this is a huge time frame, correct? And we just got interest rate cuts on the dollar. That means dollar weakness and gold strength. You see a trading gold spot against the dollar, and an interest rate cut means it weakens the pair, whatever it is. If it's a dollar, it weakens the currency. So for you to be looking at this as a manipulation, you gotta have like some kind of due diligence in why you think the market's gonna do the opposite of what we just got Powell say. You know what I mean? This is technically based, but you know, it's like you're gonna be missing on a few things because trading is not just technicals. Actually, it's majority trading is fundamentals. You know what I mean? Technicals are just there to kind of like get you into trades. But when we're looking at direction, you want to focus on fundamentals, macro fundamentals. So yeah, just I don't know. I go with the train, you know. For me, it feels weird that price even dumped today after what we had yesterday. But that's why you still got to be cautious. You still got to be cautious. Let's see. Gold rises after Fed cut rates. Silver hits market talk. Gold prices rise after Federal Reserve delivered a widely expected 25 basis point interest rate cut, even though policymakers left markets uncertain about next year's policy path. Both gold and silver are heading for their strongest annual performance since 1979. And silver are heading for their strongest annual performance since with gold up more than 60% and silver more than doubling, driven by heavy central bank demand. So wow, look at this, and prices still moving down here. Yeah, that's these are the first breakouts. These are the very first breakouts for anybody trying to ride this FOMC wave. We haven't yet gotten the bull run. So that's why, like, for me, sells are not completely out of the question yet. We just need to break below 42.12 and see what we can do there. What do I mean macro fundamentals? Just the ones which are not scheduled on Forex Factory for the most part, but macro fundamentals are like geopolitical uncertainties, as we mentioned already, interest rate cuts. If we have like an alien invasion, that would be a macro fundamental, or if Trump says something that's not scheduled. Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe Trump is gonna tweet something. You know, that could be a macro fundamental. Yeah, alien invasion would be scheduled. Isn't it written in the Bible? When the great flood comes, no one's gonna know. And you see that guy? There's a guy who's actually building boats, and he says the world is gonna end in December 26th. And he already built a few arcs. And he's selling tickets. And he's already getting animals. And let me see if I can find him. This is a guy. This guy here is already building an arc. What did he say? December 26th? Yeah, this dude. So that's the model. That's the model. And I think he's already built a few of these things. It's not like one big one. There's a world to end on December 21st. But to be fair, his craftsmanship is pretty nice. I don't know where he's getting the money for all of this though. Buy all the wood and everything. Let's see if we can find like some better pictures here. Like no better pictures. See, Goldie's attempting to break that high again. See, it's wiping people out. Basically, it's doing a laundry machine strategy over here. It's gonna like try and clean up some people before it makes the move up. Let's see. Candle's about to close. Oh no, it just got a new 5-minute candle. So yeah, after that break initially, that's kind of messed up the what do you call it? The pattern over there. Really? It's not loading up. Oh, yeah, this arc right here. See, not bad craftsmanship. But whether the world's gonna end on December 26th or 25th, we shall see. I don't know how it's gonna fit all animals in pairs in there. Kind of running out of time here. Already on the 11th. Got a lot of work to do, sir. Could you imagine? Could you imagine this thing surviving the end of the world? That would be insane. It's like, all right, guys. So, you know, a ticket's going to cost you $100. $100 over here. So get ready, be prepared. I wonder if there's even a smaller population, a small percentage of people who would actually go and visit this guy. You know, because people who are like super religious, yeah, like extremists, you know, like even if there's just going to be like 5 or 10 people, that would be interesting, who actually go to this guy over here. They say they found Noah's Ark apparently in Turkey or something over there. But I don't know if that's really true. I don't think it's true. Well, you see, it looks kind of convincing, but I think it's definitely some Fugazi thing going on. You should Google it. Noah's Ark, Turkey. Noah's Ark in Turkey. Apparently it's like on a mountain or something. Something like this. And if you go here, you see like the timbers. Like some timbers inside the soil. And that's like the shape of the ark. See how it's shaped over here? Yeah, it's in Turkey over here. Vic, will you stream the last 10 days of December and first week of January? Yes, I'll probably stream. We'll see. If there's volume and there's opportunity, you know, why not? For me, I'm just waiting for some increase of volume. If we don't get that, then, you know, at that point, then I think, you know, nothing's gonna be too much expected. You know, it's still early because we got FOMC yesterday. This is the day after. We have to see how the market behaves like on Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday, we'll get like a much better idea too. Well, I will still be looking on the charts. Keeping one eye open. Money doesn't sleep. Money doesn't go on holiday. So we'll see. I think the idea is build a life where you don't need a vacation from. You know what I mean? Like where every day you just kind of do what you do, and it's a perfect way of looking at it. Rather than waiting for weekends or waiting for public holidays. No. But yeah, let's see what happens. If it can re-break these highs and like create a new structure, could be interesting. But if it wants to fake out, it's already in a pretty good position to fake out. Right over here. Money doesn't sleep. Yeah, isn't that what that Shia LaBeouf movie also is called? Wall Street, money never sleeps. Money never sleeps. Hey, Critique Central, thank you for the sub. It's trying to break. It's creating a new higher high over there. You can see it just bypass this zone, create a new higher high. But you see, the problem with this is whenever the range is super obvious, you find yourself more in scenarios where it breaks and then pulls back, breaks and then pulls back. That's the tricky thing about a very obvious setups like these. On the 15, it looks good. At least the 15 actually ended up pushing up a little bit more towards the end. Holy. Didn't even realize that. That 15 looked like it was completely rejecting, wasn't it? So that means what? It pulled up in the last minute? That was literally the last few minutes over there. And then it closed right at that resistance. And next candle opened and then dumped a little bit. Got 3 minutes. Hourly closing? Yeah, we got hourly close soon too. That looks more like the last stand stronghold. Oh, what? The arc? If you're a super religious person, you can Google that arc in Turkey thing. But you should always play the devil's advocate. Even if you're like a super religious person, just play the devil's advocate and also look for data that proves it wrong. Don't just look for data that proves it right. Because, you know, people have done a lot of things in the name of religion which were not always very good. And they just try and push certain agendas on you. It's not all good. It's not all good. I think the thing with religion, it gives someone like people something to believe in, which I find like is very positive. And without having that belief system, then, you know, like I feel like, man, you're gonna feel a bit lost sometimes in life. I'm not per se very religious, but I do believe in a higher power. Anyway, let's see what happens. Can we break lows and start trending down, or can we break highs? Stay tuned. Can this barcode end let's just scan this barcode and see what product it pulls up. It's quite funny, right? Like since the London Open, it hasn't done anything. We've just been chopping. Imagine this. You just gotta survive all of this chop. Since if you're planning on trading London Open, your number one thing would be, how could you sit on your hands the best possible way? You know, how could you do that? Because look at this. Look at where you're gonna get stuck in here. There was only one opportunity that we saw, which in itself was a risky opportunity. But you know, sometimes it's the risky ones which actually even play out. Because not a lot of people are willing to take that risky one, correct? People are more willing to take the obvious one, which is the break of these highs. But you see, with that also comes its own difficulties. So I think what I would like to see, if I was going to give this trade here a chance at the break of the highs, I think what I want to see is for price to set up a little bit more structure and then break the highs. I think anything now would still be a bit too soon. That was a really bad break as well, the way it broke on the first attempt. So that it's like a hidden thing, you know, it's like a hidden thing that you're not gonna see when you're gonna visit the chart at the end of the day. You'll see it when you're forward testing. And the way candlesticks break, there's a way when they break, it causes what we call like some kind of an imbalance in the market. You see, like this is like an imbalanced break right over here. And then with imbalanced breaks, you find yourself more in the situations. And I'm sure you all have experienced it before. Maybe you just don't know how to put it into words because you're just seeing things, but you're not 100% sure yet because you're still building experience. But that's, yeah, it's true. There's a certain way that candlesticks can break that causes like a hidden imbalance in the way it does it. You got the new 1 hour candlestick opening. Still don't have a bottom. Okay, there we go. Bottom wick's been formed. Oh, previous hourly didn't close bearish. Looks like it flipped up here. It's like low volume, right? You see the way it's moving up over here, like a 3 white soldiers, but it's doing it in a way that's it's not really very convincing as a volume to move up because of the dojis. If you look at the candlestick bodies, they're pretty small compared to the wicks. You know, pretty small body, long wicks. So it's doing this kind of thing where it's reducing volume in a sense. It's the same thing that kind of happened, I think. Oh, well, no, slightly differently here, but both were struggling. You could see both were struggling. Hourly struggling and that initial break here was struggling. Can I explain liquidity pools in my own word? Consolidation. That's all that liquidity pool is. So think of this here like a puddle, right? This is just a puddle on the ground. How deep that puddle is, we never know. You kind of want to know whether you're a fancy schmancy liquidity softwares, but you know, you're never going to know how deep that puddle is. You're only going to know once it distributes from it. So that's what a liquidity pool is. Like when price consolidates like this. Yeah, price consolidates like this and it's building all those orders and now you see it's going to distribute. And the funny thing is, it doesn't have to be a big accumulation to... let's see, where we're coming here, like 0.35%. Why are we always at like 0.40%? Chat, have you noticed that this week? Like literally every time, it's same thing that happened yesterday. Like close to an entry model, it's always at close to 0.40% on the daily. Which is kind of strange. But I think this move I don't think it's going to break 0.40. Daily bias would still be saying waiting by that point. See, from here to here, that's like 0.4. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0.7. Yeah, it's not. I think it's going to trend only after it breaks that area. Yeah, I was saying, the thing about the liquidity pools, just because it's also like really big like this, yeah, it's still not trending. It's breaking and it's still not trending. 0.37. Yeah, you see this accumulation break here. Just because it's also big like this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a big one, right? We anticipate it's going to be a big one, but it doesn't necessarily mean because you don't know like if the orders here are still in. You see the accumulation, but sometimes the orders might not even be in there anymore. You understand? So like when you get the breakout, sometimes you don't get like as big a break as you think that you should be getting. And then sometimes on the smaller ones have the biggest breaks, have the biggest distributions. So you see it's like, it's quite interesting. I wonder if those liquidity softwares actually tell you if the orders are still in the market or if it just tells you when. I don't know. It's all just too complicated for me, you know. I'm not that smart, so I just focus on candlesticks. Looks like it will take the Asia low. Yeah, looks like yeah, like break above. We've come down like about almost 82 pips. 82 more pips to the downside. Can we distribute? Dump it. I just need to keep dumping hard. Yes. Are you in a trade or waiting for it to dump? Yeah, we need to like dump a bit more. Because now we're selling into like a very difficult area. You know, like it just grabbed liquidity up here, basically just stuck in those buyers. People want to get into FOMC buys, so they just got trapped in there. Price coming in down. And it's got some speed bumps to get through here. We got a 15-minute support. If we can break through that 15-minute support, we have a 32 pip range below here. So we're going to wait and see if we can actually break. 30-minute looks good as well, breaking below that support there too. New hourly candle. Looks like this is going to be the first move of the hourly candlestick. What I hope it does is it doesn't go too far away, that it breaks like this and then creates a bottom wick and then sets up like just around this area, you know, give us that reversal play, but doesn't reverse, instead comes down, or even does like a little fakey situation and then breaks the lows here whilst we're still close to this general area. That would be a nice play, because if it just melts completely here, that means that hourly would have already kind of like had a really big move since it started all the way up here, and the candle's gonna be much longer, you know. And then if you get entry here at the bottom, it's like it's a strain on the hourly to keep going, but it could keep going, but it's definitely a strain. So these are just like small things that, you know, you can incorporate to your trading today and then look and see how that actually affects your trades, like when candlesticks are still fresh as opposed to when candlesticks have already kind of like had some kind of move. I was just waiting here. 0.37% down on the daily. So yeah, what is the break here? This is 0.40 at that break. See, this thing should be flipping. It should flip if it breaks these lows. See, there's like that hidden barrier. Remember, like yesterday we spoke about those psychological barriers? There's one right here at 0.40%. You can't see it technically, but you're going to see it with the daily volume. So yeah, it should be flipping. Daily buy should be flipping. It's literally right there. At 0.40 is literally right here. See, yeah, daily should be flipping. I think it needs to push a bit more to register. There, it's like daily bias has flipped to bearish. You see, it's right there. It's like a zone. So let's see now if we can set up something here. I hope it doesn't completely just melt off here at this point. I would like to see it pull up and then set something up here. That would be perfect. Wish me luck, I'm in. Hey, good luck, Godspeed. May the pips be with you. Let's see, I just need to keep dumping hard. We got over here. Buy stop, move up. Yeah, funny gif. We got a Johnny Depp here in the gulag. Guys gonna go for a Johnny Depp trade if you're already in this for a sell. Johnny Depp. Yeah, this is imagine people went long yesterday on FOMC, because we did have one candlestick actually shoot up and it looked convincing. It looked like that was gonna be the start. Then it ended up just, well, actually what happened? Let's see for ourselves here what happened yesterday. Yeah, this is the last time I saw it. Wait, not here, but this was as it was moving up over here. So it looked like it actually did continue. Yeah, I mean the daily did close bullish. Yeah, this is the last time that I saw it, like right here. This 445. So it actually did skyrocket. Wow. But the first one was a flop. It pushed up, you know, it came back down, removed the buyers, which you can see here on the chart. Quite mean. Very mean of the market to do this. See, I like trap all these initial buyers initially, and then fake them out. Took their stop losses before moving up. Imagine how annoying that would be. Get a stop like this, and then price kind of like gives you a better push. Because I think even on the lower time frames, this was pretty smooth. Not as many pullbacks, even if you got a tighter stop loss on a lower time frame there. Not as many pullbacks. All right, so Goldie here is flirting with the daily trend. We do need to see a little bit more structure. However, I do need to see price pull up and then play around for a bit, and then we can take it away. You know how much money was made hitting those SLs? Loads. SL is the best time to trap people during NFP and those events. Because there's a lot of people there. But we just come in the next day, because you don't really miss on those moves. And if we're meant to keep moving up, we should have just kept moving up. It's kind of strange that we dumped so hard again. But the daily time frame is not over yet. We got like 12 hours, 47 minutes. Like even if you look at yesterday's candle was predominantly bearish, and then it still flipped up bullish, closed bullish towards the end of the day. Just the same way as this one was predominantly bullish, and it still flipped and closed bearish towards the end of the day. So it's not over until the fat lady sings, as they say. You still have to wait for the candles to close. This could just all be noise on the lower time frames. Bull trap yesterday. Bull whips. Bull's got some whips. Like this, come up, create a resistance, and then re-break of the lows, get one last sell, and at that point, I think the market could do one more sell. Give one more sell setup before retesting the highs to see if it wants to move up later. Maybe that's gonna be a case scenario for New York session to see if it can break above 42.20. Gold will end the year under 4,000. Let's see how far that is. 4K. Got a oracle in the chat here. Yeah, 4K is pretty big move. 4K. I don't think so. The thing is, like, what we're really looking at is 4,200. That is the most significant psychological near-term mark. Is 4,200. That's what we're looking at. We've got some other points over here like 4,250. If we can get above 4,250, then that's the area that we really need to break, so price can attempt to go to like 4,400 all-time highs. But right now we're like 4,200. That's a key zone. Beyond 4,200, maybe you're gonna have 4,100, but it's a very, very, very important zone right there. We might use it. Might even be a magnet, right? If we get a sell confirmation here, 4,200 could even be a magnet. That's about 112 pips away, which we've already seen gold do like 80 pips on even one 5-minute candle. One 5-minute candle can literally push all the way down from here down to here. So that could be like a magnet, 4,200 on the sell. You just need a little bit more structure here. It's still setting up. But I got my eyes for the bottom of this wick. Needs to set up. Needs to set up. Maybe it comes down again. Retests these lows. Comes up and then breaks. That'll be a better situation. See on the 5-minute how we're reacting. Okay, got some rejection wicks here on the 5. A small reaction off the support levels over there. It's not the easiest place to get through. But on the 15 and the 30, it's a little bit more clean. I am an oracle, but under my current market framework, the structural weakness in gold's multi-session order flow and the persistent failure to sustain premium levels suggest a year-end rotation into lower liquidity zones, with a sub 4,000 area emerging as a plausible downside and completion point for the cycle. And sounds pretty convincing. Yeah, gotta take this call over here. Let me talk to the market makers. Okay, so I decided to rip up instead. Yeah, so Bogdanov said that you're full of fugazi and that he's gonna do what he wants to do. So gonna wait on Bogdanov to decide where price is gonna go. But you know, just cause I think we gotta give you a fair shot over here, we have to go and visit our own personal in-house oracle. So let's see. You said the price should be coming down to where? To 4,000. Gold will end the year under 4,000. Okay. Will gold end the year under 4,000? Let's see over here. Alright, so gonna pick a few cards. I would ask you which card to go with, but I know there's a delay on YouTube here, so that's gonna take a minute. So we're gonna go with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, catch a tiger by its toe. It na 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 na. Alright, now I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna do a shuffle, 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 shuffle. Let's see. Oh, missed it. Alright, let me try again. What do we get? Oh, okay, so we end up going with this one. Anyway, so let's see over here. Yet they seeker of golden truth. The card whispers a tale of community and aspiration intertwined with the authority of financial mastery. Yet the veil their vision in uncertainty. The shimmer of gold may not plunge below the sacred threshold of 4,000. Thus the answer lies firmly in the realm of no, with quotation marks in there. Oh, that's not looking too good. That is not looking too good, sir. But I'm gonna have to side with the in-house Oracle in this one, because I think it's a pretty far target over there. But let's give you another chance. Let's give it fair chances. You know, TFX is all about fair chances, you know. So we're gonna flip a coin now. This is the last one. If it lands on heads, then it's going to come to 4,000. If it lands on tails, then it's not. And I gave you a good one, because most coin flips, here's an insider, most coin flips are gonna land on heads. I don't know why that's the case, but if you ever flip a coin, always choose heads, right? So let's go. Coin flip lands on. Oh, tails. Oh, man, I don't think luck's on your side here today. I'll call it a day. Maybe you shouldn't take any trades either. It's crazy. Do one more. Maybe we go rock, paper, scissors. Last one. Rock, paper, scissors. What did you choose? I think also in rock, paper, scissors, most people are going to go on scissors. So you gotta go on rock, right? Don't go on, I feel like paper is always risky. So you gotta go rock, paper, scissors. Because you know, it says scissors is the last thing. So psychologically, someone go like this, right? They just stay on rock. Most of the time, also, you're going to find the other guy's going to go rock. So you're both going to go rock. But paper is always like kind of like the risky one. Your ex was a card reader? Oh, nice. You're in a long position. Awesome. Yeah, this thing is really indecisive of where it wants to go. Super indecisive, because now we're so close to getting our entries, and then it just did a complete U-turn over here. It did a whole U-turn, and it's going back into the range. Just the same way when it decided to break these highs, it just did a whole U-turn. Came down, it's done a whole U-turn again, it's coming back up. So it's just like stuck inside a range at this point. Don't you trade NQ? No, sir. Most people who trade NQ are most likely trading order blocks and fair value gaps and inverted unicorns. But, you know, we don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
But, you know, NQ is pretty nice. It's breaking out of resistance right now for a range for price to keep going up. You know, so I think NQ, a buy on NQ is a pretty good idea, because, you know, NQ also moves up most of the time if you look at the higher time frame. So you see it's distributing right now. It actually looks pretty good. But damn, it took a beating today. NQ is down 0.88% on the daily. It's quite interesting because, you know, we got FOMC yesterday, so obviously like dollar weakness, NQ came down. Kind of makes sense, but structurally speaking, that looks like a nice little breakout situation. This is what we wanted to see on gold. You know, we want to see price kind of break out like this. But you see, gold is a different story here today. It's doing a little bit of character development. Well, impatient traders break the highs, pull back in, break the lows, pull back up. Because look at this, yeah? Look at this accumulation. And then you see how it breaks the highs and then pulls in. And look at the same area here, breaks the lows. And it's not giving you much of a chance. So as we mentioned, the only trades we called out, like this was one here in the middle. Those are like the safest ones. Right, you're trading like in the middle of the range. Like even with this one right here, that breakthrough, it's like within the middle of the range. Like these are the safest ones. But the ones which are like more, I mean, quote unquote safe, like the standard safe, which is usually at the highs or the lows, they're becoming more dangerous. But the quote unquote, like, you know, unsafe ones are the ones which are playing out. But now they're becoming the safer ones because the actual safer ones are not playing out, if that makes sense. But, you know, the problem is it's still unsafe because the daily is still not really trending, right? So it's just like a 50-50 type of thing. So we're trying to kind of avoiding this area over here. This is a no trade zone. It's a no trade zone until markets start to actually move somewhere, but they're not going anywhere. Yeah, this is like walking in a minefield. Exactly. You love prediction cards, by the way? Oh, nice. You probably can order those if you want on somewhere like... Somewhere. I saw people actually bought the TradingView cards. You can get them somewhere. Does TradingView have a shop? Try to Google that. TradingView shop, like where they sell like mugs and stuff. TradingView shop, maybe some merch. Shop. I don't think they do. Oh, TradingView official merch store. Oh, wow! Look at this. You guys know TradingView had a merch store? Look first, then leap. You're trading our merch, a cosmic combo. So I got a desk mat. That looks actually pretty sick. Space Explorer, got like 30 bucks over here for 16 by 32. A pretty big one. Oh, that looks actually quite cool. That looks quite nice. Yeah, one for the mouse pad. It looks very clean. You got like some hot pink water bottle here. Yeah, white and black one too. You know, got some hat. Oh, that actually looks pretty cool. Look at this hat. Look first and leap. Man, that looks sick. 30 bucks. What else we got? Ah, here you go. Oh, sorry, man. Man, you're just shit out of luck today. You are just shit out of luck, bro. It's sold out. The cards that you like, or you know, you like card reading or whatever you said, man, they're sold out. Holy. You know, they're going for like 100 bucks over here. Remaining 0. Damn. That's the only thing that is sold out. The only thing here sold out. Alright, okay, there's one right here though. Tarot cards for traders, black case edition. You can still get the black case edition. It's like 100 bucks too. Oh, nice. And we got some soap as well. Chat, didn't I say I wanted to start making soap? Told you I was gonna make grass scented soap, so you're gonna touch grass. Because I know a lot of you are like slaves to the market, so you don't touch a lot of grass. So I wanted to make grass scented soap. So at least, you know, at the end of the day, we can touch some grass over here. You see, TradingView's got some soap. It's like 5 bucks. You got 5 bucks over here. Yeah, but that's actually sick. I did not know TradingView had a store. We need TFX merch. Now I want TFX grass soap. Oh, that would be actually sick. Imagine a soap line of like different scented soap. So you're going to have drawdown soap. It's going to be red and it has like, you know, its own unique smell. And then you have profit soap. It's going to be like blue and it has a unique smell too. Or you're going to have what like a consolidation would smell like. You know, consolidation soap and trending bull market soap, bear market soap. That would be pretty cool. Or like house essence, you know, for the house and the room trading environment. You know, if you really like smells, then I think that would be something interesting, because you know there's some people who genuinely like love to, you know, study smells. They love smells. Because, you know, smell can tell a story. If you're good at smelling, and, you know, you can tell a story from the smell and it can make sense for you. Full margin soap. Yeah, full margin casino scented. Those ones are for special days. For NFP, FOMC. Those type of days. So what would that smell like? Yeah, I guess it should smell pretty fresh, you know. It's when people suit up for those events, so you should smell like 100 bucks or 1,000. You should smell like $1,000,000 on that day. Liquidity soap with the razor blades in it. Cologne and cigarettes. Oh, that's nice. That's nice as a small little text, you know. Full margin soap. Then you explain the scent, and then it say cologne and cigarettes. But in a good way. Yeah, so let's wait and see if gold can get out of this sticky situation that it's in right now. It's very undirectional. Hey, Caesar, thank you for the sub. Thoughts on Nasdaq? Yeah, Nas is still moving up here. It's distributing. It's a distribution phase. Oh, and remember we talked about clean ranges on last time's stream when Nas was selling off and I said just chill? Like, this is the range again, but I'm not sure as far as entry confirmations go. We gotta dig onto the 1 minute. But remember, like, Nas was selling off. But you see what I said? Like, it was just creating that itch. That itch that I can never scratch. So it came back up to scratch that itch. You see over here? It did it quite volatile though, but let's see on the 1 minute if there's any structure. Not really. Very tricky one to trade. Well, that was a crazy push up. It did fill up the ranges. It did fill the range because look how close it came towards that resistance though. Like pretty damn close. Right? And then after that, it just kind of like fizzled away for a bit. Fizzle, fizzle, fizzle. Another range which was formed right here. You see this? Boom. Candlestick broke above. Little fake out confirmation towards the lows. Here. Liquidity grab. Clean range. And then fill the range. Up towards that resistance. So that little SMA confluence on that 8 SMA. Right? So you see that range? Beautiful. That's essentially what this should have been done. If you can go and like copy paste this over here. That's what it should have been. But it did it more volatile. So it came back to its senses. And you know, you gotta wait sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta wait for the market to come back to its senses. You know, because it behaves randomly like this. And then you gotta wait for like that proper structure again. So it comes back into its senses. You know, that's why we're waiting on gold as well. We're waiting for gold to come back to its senses over here. Then you're gonna have an awesome day. A beautiful structure here as well. You see, very nice, very contained. Very contained structure. You see, like, if it breaks the highs, oh, it broke the high, let's see. It broke the high, then it pulled down. But at least it broke the high with some kind of a... Oh, maybe it didn't. Because on Nas, would this be like 2 pips? But that's 20 pips. Yeah, you gotta see how you trade on Nas. I think you'd probably use like 20 pips then. Instead of 2 pips on gold, on Nas it would be like 20 pips. So you just get a solid break. You know, just wait for a solid break. Break solidly, and then that's what you should be getting. See this as well? Another break, another solid break over here. And then it's still pushing up from this minor accumulation. So that's what I was saying about, like, with gold. If gold was to break those highs and then we catch it in the middle, it would look something like that to catch it in the middle to move up bullish. But you see, it broke the highs and then it came down. And it will be the same thing for the sells. Like, if it was to move downwards, we would wait for gold, such as this area over here, to break these lows, and then we would catch it in like a situation like this too. So that's the game plan. South Africa gold production slips by 1.2%. Yeah, you know. Congo is a weird place for gold dealing. It's like where a lot of warlords control their own sections of gold mines. Kind of wild to think about that. Like maybe watch Blood Diamond, Leonardo DiCaprio, Blood Diamond vibes. Gold is a very lucrative thing. Think like money doesn't exist without gold, because you know everything is auctioned up against gold reserves. So money is kind of useless without gold in the mix. But how's Nvidia doing? Last time we saw Nvidia, we were kind of holding that support on the weekly. Oh wow, man, Nvidia just moved up here, going back. Oh no, this is NQ again. Wait, where's Nvidia? Oh, here's Nvidia. Yeah, I got that weekly support. Still respecting that weekly support. So you see the way Nvidia shows it's an artificial thing with that bubble, that image that we saw, and like how companies are just circulating money around and around. There's two ways to think about it. You can think about it as a bubble, or you can just think about it as the way our society works anyway, because you know banks are always loaning money to governments and government bonds, and it's also in a sense a bubble. Our economy is also in a sense a bubble, right? That's why we're always going to have recessions and we're going to need bailouts, because like the US, you know, can print money out of thin air. But it's in a sense a bubble. You know, banks give to government, the government give back to banks. So that's kind of like the situation with Nvidia, and that's why people are saying that AI is a bubble. But in reality, you know, life is technically the same way. It's just Nvidia has a money problem. They have too much money. It's like the United States. The United States has too much money. That's why everybody gets credit. Everyone's got like credit cards. It's a good problem to have, you know? They have too much money, so what? They're buying a lot of things without money right now, and they're kind of like trying to diversify too. So the issue here is they just need more data centers. You know, they need more data centers. Because, you know, the problem is when you don't have production, you have inflation. That's why if there's too much money in the economy and your economy is not producing anything, that causes inflation. So that's the thing, is the data centers, you know, and getting data centers is not the easiest thing. I think due to resources such as like cobalt, you know, you have to source cobalt. Got to go to an African country and, you know, mine the country. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into creating chips and all of these things. So that's the hindrance. And that's why, you know, like supply, there's not enough supply for the demand that they want, you know, but this is something that I think will just keep slowly and steadily growing. So yeah, for Nvidia, I think I don't think like it's going to be necessarily like a bubble like Michael Burry says. This thing's probably going to keep rising. But you got to keep an eye out for a 166 area over here. You know, if we start breaking the weekly support, that's going to give a potential dump over here. It's got a pretty big dump. You know, if price weakens a lot, it's going to weaken beyond that point. So that structurally is still holding. Yeah, money is an annoying thing, you know. When you start to make a lot of it, it becomes very frustrating, money. Because you think you're just going to make money, but you're not just going to make money. There's a lot of red tape with making money. The first time you have like, you know, maybe your first $10,000 month or $20,000 or $40,000 month, what you're going to realize is when you deposit that money into your bank account, the bank is going to say it's not going to give you that money. You know, depending on where you live, the bank's going to tell you, hey, listen, where did you get this money? You know, then you got to prove where you got the money from, and money is a problem. You have to look for ways to get rid of money. You know, money is the laziest worker. You can't just have money sitting around. It loses value. It's the laziest worker. Super difficult to get rid of money. Like put it to good use. So you're going to find like a lot of people who do a lot of these like scams, these credit card scams and all of these things, like it becomes very difficult to invest because they don't have an investment oriented mindset. So they go to things like Bitcoin. You know, they start to encrypt their money, basically. Yeah? They keep it in Bitcoin. So a lot of these people you see also who are on Bitcoin and making a lot of money on Bitcoin, They're just keeping the money in Bitcoin because they can't put it into a bank account because of all the problems that's associated with putting large amounts of money into your bank account. Right? So when you look at Bitcoin, if you don't understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, don't get involved in it. Correct? That's just a way for a lot of people to launder money. That's why people love cryptocurrencies, because it's designed for the people who already have money. You know, it's a really good place to do that. So man, knowledge, trust me, the more you knowledge, the more you Lamborghini. Because if you're going to chase a lifestyle and things you see on Instagram, it's not really the reality. So you got to focus on education. Education. That's why a lot of people in trading, they're going to lose a lot of money in trading, is because they also don't understand how the market operates. You know, that's why Warren Buffett also says things like the market's a mechanism to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient traders. Invest in physical gold. Yeah, you gotta, you gotta get physical gold. If you gotta invest in physical gold, just do it like the right way. But if you do it the right way, you gotta pay a lot of tax as well for buying a lot of gold. So most people don't like to do it the right way, but you get screwed over if you don't sometimes. Yeah, I think I share too much free information on these streams sometimes. But let's just wait. Let's wait and see what happens next. And none of this is investment advice. This is just my own opinions. I'm a teacher, an educator. Way too much for free. Yeah, let's see. Real estate is best, at least in Portugal at the moment. You know, real estate's also another thing. Like, it's also quite another industry. Just be careful about these things, because like also real estate, man, people with a lot of money, real estate, you know, they say real estate is, I think, accounting like maybe 60% of laundered money is usually done through real estate. So, you know, sometimes you gotta go to like places and you're gonna see a lot of, it happens in New York a lot. In New York, there's so many of these expensive apartments, ridiculous apartments costing a ridiculous, absurd amount of money, right? Because these people have money from the dealings that they do, right? So they're willing to pay a premium so they can also get rid of the money. You know, I'm not gonna get too much into this, but that's why in New York, you're gonna see these ridiculously expensive apartments with nobody living in them. And in smaller countries, you'll see the same thing. You'll see like so many apartment. Oh, my internet went off. The FBI is coming for me here. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of challenges you face once you start to have like a lot of money, right? It just becomes ridiculous. Money becomes a burden at some point. You know, it's like Pablo Escobar. So Pablo Escobar used to do, freaking digging his money, putting it in roofs. Like, it becomes a burden at some point. You get so good at what you do that it just becomes like never-ending river that keeps just flowing. You know, and you're just trying to not drown in it. Yeah, that's a nice problem to have. Wouldn't you agree, chat? At least you're going to learn a lot during that process. Probably going to lose a lot of it, understanding on how to keep it all. I bought a garage for 6K about 7 years ago, and now they're selling at 25. Nice. Yesterday, I see the sign on the garage next to me, and I phoned to know the price. 27K for you, 25, because I know you, and he's going to sell it past 1 to 2 months. Oh, nice. Yeah, you know, properties also, you know, it's hard to liquidate properties as well. It's easier to liquidate stuff like vehicles. That's why you see a lot of rich people buy a lot of these vehicles. It's easier to liquidate vehicles. It's easier to liquidate expensive watches. You try cross a border with about a, you know, a million, couple of millies worth of cash or whatever like that. It's not gonna be easy. We can buy a watch that costs that much. And liquidate that easy. You can buy some art. People buy art. You know why artists get paid a lot of money? It's not because of the art. Sometimes these people just need areas to invest their money. So they're willing to give you so much money for your bullshit art as a reason to have that as an asset, and also, yeah, just kind of like protect the wealth. You know what I mean? That's why art sometimes is so expensive. It's not just because of the art, but it's a mechanism for the rich to protect their wealth. So you're always pushing prices up. So you can do two things in life. You can either over declare or under declare. So this is something you're gonna know like once you start running businesses and doing taxes. In Portuguese airports, the max I can carry as live money is $10,000. Yeah, I think it's about the same amount, right? Like all across, like around, in general, about like 10K, right? Yeah, it seems about right. $10,000. Yeah, that's why the rich don't the rich really avoid to pay taxes, because if you're dealing with a lot of money, like even those percentages are gonna really add up. So I think being financially literate is super important, because some of you are paying too much, but you're not seeing it now because you're not earning that much. But when you start earning a lot, you'll start to realize, damn, it's a lot of money. Gotta start writing things off. Every meal that I have is gonna be a business expense. Every car that I buy is gonna be a business expense. It's a nice problem to have, chat. Is this considered a breakout? Yes. It's breaking out now. How much was that breakout? Let's see, from here to here. It's about like 16 pips on the break. Yeah, it actually initially started here. It started here, it broke this high, and then it came back down. Came back down, and then boom, boom, boom. Continue to follow through. Bullish. Beautiful. But I am just, I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for something interesting, but looks like I'm not getting what I want. Lawrence, thank you for the sub, man. Appreciate it. Oh, 10K in the UK too. More money, the more options. Yeah, that's some famous politician. I'm not going to mention any names, but this guy had 6 Land Rovers in his parking lot, yeah? And in each Land Rover was just stacks and stacks of $1,000 bills. And one day, like, the secret police, I'm not going to mention any names, any countries, but the secret police came to his house. He was a politician. And they took away his Land Rovers. And in the Land Rovers, they found like stacks and stacks and stacks of $1,000 bills. It's like, this guys get so, you get to a point in life where it's like you're gonna make so much money you don't know what to do with it. But it's a very scary thing, because you think these people are financially literate, but they're really not. They've just placed themselves in an area where they're gonna get splashed. They're just getting splashed. Like, oh damn, I'm suffering from success over here. But I never learned how to manage that. That's why you also find a lot of like, actors and singers and all these people, they find themselves in those situations too. And you just kind of like want to put yourself in that situation to begin with, right? But how do you do that? How is the question? Because we're all trying to chase this thing, right? But how do we do that in the first place? And let me tell you something. It all comes down to skill. Skill and education. It doesn't happen on accident. These things don't happen on accident. So the more you're like pushing towards a certain direction, the higher your probabilities are to get splashed. A lot of you chasing financial literacy in the markets is already increasing the probability of you getting splashed. My internet keeps going off and on over here. Are you entered a trade? No, I'm waiting. Like, look at the way markets are. I'm telling you, the ones that are happening in the middle, those are the safest ones. But the ones happening at the edges are the risky ones. So there was this one here that just broke out and played out over here. And then there's this one, but this is not even really set up nicely here. And then there was this one again. Just the ones which are happening in the middle are the safest ones. But you can see the main breakouts are still pulling in on gold. They're still like a... Yeah, we're just trying to avoid whips, man. We're just trying to wait for a trending market. Because these trades are still good, but they're more like 50-50 in my opinion for this London session. But you see, it broke the highs and price moved up. Beautiful. It didn't break the lows. So no sell confirmations. Right? If you look at it here as well, price broke the highs. It didn't break the lows. Lows are still respected. Confirmed that direction. Moved up. But in my opinion, like, I want to stay away from these range bound type of trades, and I'll rather just wait to see the market first. Like, even if it can respect this area and keep moving up and then kind of like get in the middle, because if you look on the 15-minute, on the left hand side, you have so much clean range for price to keep moving up over there. Right? The 15-minute looks so good. Like 5-minute looks good. But you see, you're trying to avoid these fake outs. But I know you're not even listening to me because you're just wondering when the signal is coming. But this is what we're trying to avoid. These pullbacks. Pullback, pullback, pullback. And then getting stuck into a trade that actually I planned for this session, you know? Y'all been waiting for that? Politicians are the same in all countries. In Portugal, they found 50,000 euros in banknotes hidden in bottles and books in the office of an advisor to a prime minister, as well as a pen drive containing intelligence service data. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, if you go to like these rich neighborhoods, you're gonna see they would be having like you know, they would definitely be having those things if they are raking it in. Yeah, that's crazy. Very nice. Yeah, cryptos are good for that type of thing. You just hold it on crypto. And the good thing about crypto, it's so volatile. So if you have a lot in there, you know, imagine the gains that you get. And then you just have more of a problem. Because, you know, the reason why it's in crypto is to avoid having, you know, to store it somewhere safe. Now you're going to have so much more, you're just going to withdraw. You're just going to want to withdraw. Withdraw and splurge. That's why the people who got rich on Bitcoin were already rich to start with. You know? They already had a significant amount to keep in here. That's why Bitcoin is so lucrative, and that's why Bitcoin is never going to go down to like a 0 or something like too crazy, you know, because it's an instrument. It's an instrument for the wealthy. Just like the markets are. You know, the markets were never designed for people to trade like us retail traders. The markets were always designed for the rich. You always had, in the beginning, you always had to have some sort of significant income to be a trader. Most people were just, you wouldn't find just regular people being traders. Traders were usually considered really rich. You know what I mean? Or they had some kind of good income coming in. But nowadays we got a lot of like leverage, so we can all get involved. So it's much easier for us to achieve that same dream. But I think understanding the history of these things, understanding money is quite important. You know, don't be arrogant about life. Don't be ignorant about things in life. You know, life is not always what it seems. And the moment you start realizing on different levels, you will be surprised. Just, you know, behind the psychology of money and making money. Because a lot of people think making money should be difficult. It's not difficult. I think it's just your relationship with money has to shift a little bit more. That's why you're going to see, like, for whatever reason, you're going to see rich people don't care as much about money. They have a different relationship to money than somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck. You know, they more like saving oriented. They hold on to the money like this. Because it's like, you know, they're already in a situation where they can't even, you know, it's very difficult to broaden the horizon at that point. But you have to be willing to take risks on yourself and use it as a tool. That's all that it is. It's just a tool. People hold on to money like this. They're like penny pinchers. And you know, in trading, it's very difficult to be a penny pincher. You have to be somehow free flowing with your psychology surrounding money. You can't marry biases too much. You have to be loose. If you're not loose, then what happens? You take one bad trade, emotionally attached to that. You want to make it back. You're gonna revenge trade. Time you're taking your third trade, super emotional. You know, if you're taking like 2 trades in a short period of time, that's already showing a little bit of over trading. You know, so you have to try and avoid the urge for taking trades, right? So you take 1 trade per session. My rule of thumb is 1 trade per session, 3 trades maximum. Pre-London, London, pre-NY. I rarely will take 2 trades in one session. Very rarely. Because you don't want, you know, the thing is, you don't want to be emotionally attached to the money. That's why. That's the whole idea behind it. And if you feel the trade setup is not a good trade setup, don't take it. Because that's going to affect your psychology too. Because if you lose that trade, then you're going to play the victim. If you win the trade, you're going to feel like you got lucky. But you don't want to get lucky. Low state loading. Well, your friend made Bitcoin and well, that's not true. My friend started with a couple of dollars and kept accumulating till it reached around $300 and hold it till 60K. Now he's sitting at home enjoying life. Bro, 60K is how long will that 60K last him? 60K is like, you know, in this economy, that's an emergency fund. You know, you gotta have 60K put aside. Maybe you gotta survive a year or something without an income, or you know, a little bit above, maybe a slight, depending on where you live. But let's just say it's roughly around an emergency fund. Also, depending on your situation, if you have children, if you don't, etc., etc. But man, in this economy, 60K, he's sitting around like what? Come on, man. People with Bugattis here are working every day, and your friend is sitting around with 60K. Man, come on, get serious. Why would people who already have money work every day? You know, 60K, he should be scared. If he's 60K away from poverty, man, that should be a wake-up call and say, okay, you know, I got 60K now. Let me focus on building a skill, because now I have the freedom to chill out a bit. Because let me tell you, when I had my first year of savings, 1 year of savings from trading, the way I approached the markets was so different, because now I could be more patient. You know, I felt like I could be more patient with my trades. I could really manage my risk a little bit better. And it gives you freedom to actually now take risks. Because 60K should be now at a point where you're going to take a risk, but a calculated risk. It's what businesses called float. So you just kind of like floating. So you got to make it count. Oh, and it reached 60K. And it's true, like there are some people who did make money, but that group of people is much lower than the ones who are already rich. Because the ones who are already rich, you know, it's a problem. It's a really big problem. Like even you can't put your money in PayPal. You know, PayPal is the worst service financial provider. Those guys will just screw you over. One time I had I think it was like $300 in PayPal, and they didn't want to give me the $300. I don't even know what they said, but they were like, no, you know, there's something with this and that and that. And then in the end, the lady gave me the $300, but she said she was doing me a favor. I'm like, what? You're doing me a favor? This is my money. You know, so like PayPal, shit services. Banks not going to protect you. You know, banks are going to sell your information. And then, you know, they also come with their own problems, banks. You know, banks also have their own problems, and you know, you're gonna look at other things. What else can you do? You gotta have cryptocurrencies. I was gonna bother you with cryptocurrencies. Just gonna hold it there. Have you ever used CRT candle range theory? No. I've never used that theory. So that's what I mean. Like cryptos, they serve a different purpose. They're not there necessarily to make the brokies rich. Look at this thing. It's still moving up over here. Yeah, this is what I wanted to kind of see. But we haven't formed the structure that we want to see though. That's the missing piece of the puzzle. Do I understand it? Candle range theory. I've never heard of a candle range theory. But I think what you mean is... Let me Google this. Because ranges can mean two things, right? Ranges can mean like clean traffic like this. Like price having like a kind of a range. You know, it's like a range of where it could go. And also ranges could mean this. When price is just moving sideways. Let me see. Candle range theory is a trading concept primarily used within the smart money concepts and inner circle trading. Some ICT stuff. The views every candlestick has a distinct price range containing critical information about institutional trading activity and liquidity. Every candle is a range, the high and low of any given candlestick on any time frame. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, smart money need large amounts of liquidity to fill their orders. This liquidity is often found above previous highs and below previous lows. Yeah, I mean, like, this is definitely still more or less the same way that I could also interpret a bit of a range, but not in terms of the way smart money like to over-refine. They like to over-refine. So they're correct. Like, these highs and lows are areas of liquidity. And market likes to target those areas of liquidity. So whenever you look like at this candle, on the 5 minute, it's just a few candles on the 5 minute. But if you go on a higher time frame, it's just one candle. It could just be like one candle, correct? Go on a higher time frame, it's just one candle. So you got liquidity at those highs. But if you go on the lower time frames, you have resistance. And these areas are like magnets. And we always say that these areas are like magnets, right? So it's true the price is attracted to these zones. And most of the time you're going to see that they're going to be attracted to zones like a sort of a target. So they're going to have a target in mind and then start rushing towards that target. But it doesn't always go for the highs and take out the liquidity here. But it will fill some of this range. Because again, if you go on the lower time frames, there are also candlesticks with the highs that it's breaking. If you go on the 1 minute, there's also a bunch of highs over there that's getting through. So those could all be liquidity points as well. You know, so if you go on the 1 minute, for example, here you see you have minor resistance points where price pushed heavily like this. You got another resistance points where price pushed heavily. So it's getting through those levels too. And it's true, like these areas could still be active as well. There could still be liquidity from like sellers over here too. So it uses that as a way to correct now the moves, now the clean range. You see over here? So that's how we look at clean ranges. Let's see, NQ. See how NQ is done. So like NQ, look at NQ. NQ has its own range. You see it's filling the range. Here, from where it accumulated to that zone. So you see just the same way like gold is doing right now, NQ is doing the same thing. So accumulating and distributing, heading towards that area. That's like a target, right? Just the way on gold is heading towards this area is like a target. Lock and load. Now looks good for a shotgun up, but needs to make a nice bottom wick and break the highs. Yep. I honestly can't wait for some of y'all to start making like really big amounts from trading, and then you're gonna start to realize certain things when it comes to actually putting that money into places. But you gotta start the journey sometime. You know, I saw my journey in 2020. 2020. You all gotta start somewhere. So the next best time to start, and this was the time that I started in December of 2019, sorry. December 2019. And now we're in December 2025. So in the next 5 years, just lock in, stay focused, and then, you know, by December 2030, I think we're gonna be like in a really good position, because all you gotta do is like 5 years. That's the mark that you should be aiming for, usually for a lot of things in life. Like if you want to buy a house, you want to be aiming for a 5-year mark. You know, if you want to start a successful business, you want to at least be aiming for a 5-year mark. It's just locking in for 5 years, and time flies so fast. You will be surprised. The person you are 3 years ago still looks so different from who you are today. You know, 3 years ago, like so much can change just from even like 3 years ago. I'm missing the move up. No, I'm not missing the move up because there's no entry. Like prices just move straight bullish. But I don't know if anybody took like a shotgun. I think the only entry would be like a shotgun here, but you'd be running a stop loss of around like, you know, 45 pips. Unless you waited for candle to create first a bottom wick and then reflip to break the highs and have like a 20 pip or something a bit artificial. But the idea would be that if price creates a low and then re-breaks its highs, then it shouldn't be coming back to break its lows. It should just keep moving up. But in terms of structure on the LTF, I haven't got any structure on the 1 minute time frame. So actually still distributing, it seems, from this area right over here. I wanted that break the highs, make the low and re-break the highs, and then put SL on current candle lows. So no trade. No trade. Still waiting. Still waiting. See, filling up the range. Coming up here. Up 30 bones off 3 entries. 0.1 lot size. They're still printing. Nice. Asia session. 50-minute demand. Plus 2R. WW. Yeah, it was a buy too. Against the selling pressure that we had during Asia. He took the breakout. This is on the 5 minute. 5 minute broke above. Pull back. Oh yeah, you see this has been the really obvious one. People have been waiting for this. This has been really, the first break here was a fake out, but the second break was more of a valid break, but it's still pulled down. So if you're using smaller stops, you'd have been stopped out on that pullback. But you see, it initially broke from here. It distributed, and then there was a pullback to retest this range. There's accumulation that happened right here. So it came to retest this area, get in more orders before price moved up again. But it's still distributing from just this whole general zone over here. It's moving up here. Idea is expecting price bearish sideways until pre-NY until NY, and after news, gold buys potentially on the 1 hour demand zone. Rainsy with the charts, with the clean chart work. Rainsy's chart work is pretty clean. Tell this guy is an organized fellow. Pretty clean chart work. MC, we got MC with the chart work too. Looking very nice. See, we got a buy. This was yesterday. That's a pretty nice simple chart over here too. Did you do anything during FOMC? No. FOMC, I was lying in bed, like watching price move up, and I was like, okay, awesome. Tomorrow I'm gonna take a buy. And then I woke up and price was moving down. It's like, damn, it's not good. But I still had a buy bias, so I still took a buy. I got a buy set up. I was still expecting price to buy. And you can see like we might even be getting the daily flip. It's just like it's filled the range that we had on the left hand side towards resistance. I think you'll look a lot cleaner on something like the 15-minute. And you can see that inverted head and shoulders a bit better too. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Saw a break above resistance here, filling up the range towards that 5-minute resistance. It's clean. It faked out once and then played out on the second break. What about Elliott wave theory? That's something like Elliott impulse waves. 1, 2, 3. This is something that we all gonna know when we first start trading, and then later we're gonna stop using it. I think that's what for most people it is. Because you see, there's a lot of theories in trading. You got Elliott wave theory. You got what's that other one called? Wyckoff theory. There's a lot of like theories and strategies. Correct? Like it doesn't mean that one is better than the other, but you just have to choose the one that makes the most sense for you. But in the beginning, what happens is you're going to go through a lot of them, right? So you're just kind of experimenting with a bunch of them, but just understand there's a lot of theories, there's a lot of indicators, there's a lot of strategies, correct? So your job is not to strategy hop to find the golden grail. Your job is to genuinely want to understand markets and different perspectives as you build your own edge as a trader and your own understanding of PA. It's like when you go to school, right? When you go to school, you're learning about, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and you learn all these kind of theories and everything. And then in the end, it wants you to build your own understanding from the materials that you're studying, right? So that's the whole idea over here. It's just a learning progress. But you see now the problem is, don't fall into the loop of forever learning, because in school also you can forever learn in school. You know, amount of theories, amount of people, armchair philosophers who have written shit over all these years, you can fall into a pit of endless learning, endless debates. So at some point you have to find yourself, find your style and your way and perspective of looking at things. That's what a lot of people tend to do also in academia, because otherwise you just fall into a pit of forever learning. So in trading, you want to avoid that as much as possible because it's super easy, especially when you're going to follow very complicated systems. So yeah, man, like TFX concepts is all about just taking about the foundations of what trading is and then trying to have a consistent edge and application of those simple understanding of what markets do, which is basically bullish, sideways, and bearish. That's all that we get when we come onto the chart. That's all that you see in any given market is a bull run, a sideways movement, or a bear run. So how can you, through that foundation, build yourself an approach to trading? That's what TFX concepts is. Like, simply put. I started everyone else's perspectives, then formulated my own. Nice. I would say volume profile too, but I don't see it as an indicator. Volume profile. You got like fixed range volume profile. You got anchored volume profile over here. You got the anchored VWAP. So that's going to be like a tool. So you can pop this on over here. It's on the left. I used to use the anchored, what do you call it? The anchored VWAP. You just put it somewhere like this. They're like almost like Bollinger Bands. VWAP's good from what I've seen, but they're so ugly. People like the VWAP. I never really understood the placement of it though. I just used to put it at a key, like I just used to go with a feeling. Like I'll just use something like this and then see what kind of lines up a bit better. You can choose lower band. I don't think I used did I use a lower band? I think I probably just used like 2 of them. Oh, we don't got Woods in the chat today? No Woods today. Full phase of the market: accumulation, uptrend, distribution, downtrend. Yes, sir. You see how beautiful that is? Look at the way it filled the range, and then you see the profit taking. But this sections here are magnets. See, fill the range and then profit taking. See what happened to the NQ, if it's still moving up here, or if it's like, let's see. So losing a bit of steam, but it's creating some structure. Maybe first resistance and then next candlestick to close up to continue the movement upwards. Daily bias is still obviously waiting, as gold is only down 0.20%. How about Snickers? Haven't had Snickers in a while. It's been a minute. Tell you're an OG, John Gray. Need some Snickers soon. It reacted to the M30 support become resistance. See how that 30 is looking like here. Massive pullback. Holy. Why are people looking to even sell gold? Doesn't make sense. The fundamentals are also saying something different. But this was posted 2 hours ago and it says gold rises after Fed cut rates. But clearly gold did not it didn't rise. 2 hours ago, like, price was down and we were down on the daily. But we're expecting it to continue moving up. Money markets have been volatile in recent weeks, leading to premium on short-term rates as liquidity was stretched. The Fed doesn't have a lot of appetite for that sort of thing to continue because it inhibits the transmission of monetary policy. This is the next big Q will be on November non-farm payroll release on the 16th of December. Oh, you still got NFP? 16th December, and whether a soft number can keep the market pricing of 2 further rate cuts in 2026 intact. Okay, so damn, I feel like so much waiting. Markets surely can't be waiting for NFP now. We already got 1 rate cut, but NFP will show us for 2 more further rate cuts in 2026. Seasonally, the dollar tends to weaken into year end, and with Fed event risk now out of the way, Euro USD could have that run up to 1.1800. After all, oil prices eased following an earlier gain on Thursday too, after the US seized a sanctioned oil tanker off Venezuela coast. Nice to see that Trump is still involved in making life there difficult. What? US seized sanctioned oil tanker. Venezuelan coast is under threat. Their airspace is under threat. Escalating tensions and raising concern over supply disruption. Bro, I feel like Trump is he's too locked in. That guy's too locked in, involved in these things. I don't know if it's what the next big move is going to be from Trump's end, because he did get the Fed rate cut. So the next thing is appointing a new federal chair. That's going to be the next move for Trump. So hopefully he's kind of hoping a guy he can control. Not like Powell. So he's going to have his own personal Bogdanov, basically. Wouldn't that be nice? Imagine having your own personal Bogdanov. You tell the guy, hey, listen, we got to have rate cuts. Then you're going to get rate cuts. Or like rate hikes. TradingView journalists must be drunk. Not gonna lie, FOMC felt like market Christmas. Yeah, it's true. At least we got some kind of news that if you look at the daily, see the daily is looking a little optimistic. We just have to get through this kind of 2 support levels. You have resistance by 42.41 and you got support down over here. That's the only thing like gold really needs to do. It just needs to get through this zone. You understand? Like this is looking not so great, but this is looking good from the previous daily candle closes. This candle can still flip and close this. We need to close this for a good December break. If we don't and we get stuck in this range, then I think December you just have to see how that unfolds, you know, because the daily looks crazy choppy, but the intradays are still pushing, generally speaking, okay. But I have definitely realized a lot more pullbacks, a lot more fake outs. That's one thing. So, you know, patience is even going to be needed more than usual. More than usual on gold. Gold is bearish on the weekly today, tomorrow and Friday. We expect a down move if people are bearish. Oh, I see. Like weekly was resistance. Because resistance over here. I got 1 more day. We're going to create a support by the weekly resistance. And if we create a support, I would want to see these lows get respected. If those lows get respected, then price can keep moving up like this on the weekly. And that's next week. But if those lows get broken, then, you know, at that point, it's possibly curtains for gold. The lows are by 41.60. So if you go on the 4 hour, you can see better perspective of where we have to break. And you can see it's an accumulation breakout too. Right? Look at this, how price is accumulating here. So if you break the lows of the accumulation, then it's curtains for gold. This thing is going to rip down heavy. Correct? Because that would be the momentum confirmation trigger right there. If we break the highs, same exact thing. Momentum confirmation trigger, price is going to skyrocket. But I'm still on the bull side, nonetheless. I'm using my super secret vision of the future to aid my decision making that price is going to go up for December. And we just need to get out of the woods now. That's all that we gotta do. Let's see. $18 trades down. That was wild though. This freaking losing streak here was crazy. They fall back to back. Never happened to me. Like, I don't think it happened to me this year. What instead happened was maybe like 3 and then 1 and then 2. You know? But like 4, 3 win and then 2 more. But damn, 4? That was wild. That was like 6%. But you know, we made it back. We just stay humble, you know, we keep applying and just wait for markets to operate. I think trailing stop loss on futures prop firm is a lot difficult, and don't let me concentrate on my risks. A good way of trailing stops would be, depending on how fast the candles are moving, 5-minute lows. So as price is pushing up like this, we do this in our simulations. You can watch the simulations and then you're going to see it in the database over there. Like when price is trending, we would trail our stops on the 5-minute lows. And then if it pushes like heavy, then we just like secure something. You know, then even if it pushes heavy again, you can secure like maybe 80% if you're still planning on holding it and then continue trailing. Because there's a chance that it pushes up, and then if it pushes up heavy, you don't want to give back those gains for the trailing stop. Also, we covered SMAs. Using SMAs for trailing positions as well is pretty nice. You see, like the moment that 8 SMA gets crossed over, it's usually a higher chance that the pullback is going to be a lot deeper. So got SMA confidence there too. Same thing you can see on the 1 minute here. See, let's say you took a buy here, and let's say you got 16 pips stop loss. So naturally, maybe you'd secure, let's say if it's a 1-to-1, about 16 pips. But if you're using, for example, SMA 1, you would have been able to hold, in the situation, not too much more, but like a 1-to-1.3. But usually it can help you hold longer than you think you would. Than you typically would. You still in a long? Man, this thing's coming down heavy. All right, chat, here it goes. Here we go. We're down. We're close to daily trend again. Very nice. Very nice. That switched up real quick. All right, so I'm going to give this market here about maybe like 20 more minutes. See if I can get a sell below support. It's coming down quite heavy. Just got like a minute candle here dump about 57 pips. Oh, I think it's talking about trailing drawdown. Right. See, breakout retest trade. Boom, boom, boom. Bank of England Governor Bailey. UK households and company balance sheet looks robust. China to improve local tax system. Oh, watch out, Woods. China to improve AI governance. Oh, we got a double whammy over here. But obviously, these are things which are gonna improve. But AI governance and China in the same sentence sounds scary. Because you know, sometimes, man, like AI is just not fair. AI is too strict. I don't think there is a direct inflation effect from lower tariffs to the US. China maintain a necessary fiscal deficit. Yeah, AI is heartless. And it's prone to errors. So very, very tricky to operate a society just using automations like AI. Very, very difficult. It happens to YouTubers a lot where the AI systems are gonna flag certain channels and AI could take your channel down. It could flag it for a mistake that you didn't actually make and then take the channel down. So it's happened to quite a few people already. It happened to me this year, sometime mid of this year. Like the AI was going wild. I don't know what was going on with that AI, but it was giving me like warnings and I was like, what the hell is this? Warning videos from I think a year ago didn't make any sense and there was nothing wrong with those videos. You know what I mean? Then I had to take everything down just to be on the safe side. Hey George B, thank you for the sub. I'd love to see price break those lows. Let's just buy 42.10. He knows too much. Oh, wow. SpaceX plans to go public next year at a 1.5 trillion valuation, poised for the largest IPO in history. Whoa. SpaceX going public? Man, that thing's gonna skyrocket. No pun intended. It's gonna look like... I think the initial push is gonna look like a rug pull. It's gonna be a huge push up and then a big drawdown. A big drawdown and then a move up, because come on, he's gonna make some money from this. Sometimes, you know, the people who work at the companies though, man, they're gonna get good price. Like people who work at SpaceX, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get like some kind of a package where they're gonna get some shares. Isn't that nice? NVIDIA backs Star Cloud trains. First AI model in space as orbital data center race heats up. Orbital data center? Man, these billionaires honestly like operating on a whole different level. You know, I definitely think there's levels to money. There's definitely levels to making money and spending money. Freaking, that's crazy. Star Cloud trains. Orbital. I'm sure they even have some like possibly under the ocean or something as well. Data centers for XY reasons. Like how crypto people, like crypto miners, they have these mining machines in really cold countries because they heat up quite a lot. I think what really opened my eyes to what people are capable with money was Billions. If you haven't watched Billions, such an awesome series. It's about trading as well. All right, it's flirting. It is flirting with the daily bias flip there. We just need to like fully commit. It keeps coming down towards this level and then for whatever reason like pulling up again. I thought for a moment that we'll be getting the daily flip. We weren't so far off a daily flip either. We just need to push up like 20 more pips. Every day I spend on the charts just shows me more and more that billionaires are just the biggest gamers. Yeah, exactly. Billionaires are just the biggest gamers. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Because, you know, they're always trying to gamify their businesses. They're always trying to gamify the system. Because, you know, when you have too much money, you got to gamify the system. You can't just play it like a normal person. If you play it like a normal person, you're going to lose a lot of money. So yeah, everything's like a game. And I think it's a good thing to already develop at a younger age. Like even before you make your first $1 million or whatever it is, just figure out ways to gamify the experience of life and getting things done. Yeah, like hovering what, 0.30. Let's see, daily. Can we break those daily lows? I think we don't need to break the daily lows, but we just need to break 4210. And then price can possibly head down towards 4200 for the day if it's going to be bearish overall. You see, like, look at this. President Trump unveils long-awaited Trump gold card. See, the guys just gamify it. Look at this Trump gold card over here. They're all just gamifying life. All these billionaires, they're all just gamifying it. Let's see what this is. Long-awaited Trump gold card. Is this a thing which is like a visa of sorts, like where you could just give you instant citizenship and you pay for it? Basically, he's gamifying for rich people. So if you, how much is this card? I think it was like a million bucks or something of the sort, right? It costs a few millions to get instant citizenship, Trump golden card, which in itself, it's kind of crazy because, you know, they're also bad people with a lot of money. So, you know, they could just take advantage of that. But there's probably a screening process with it too. But it's still a pretty interesting idea to get some more money. Is sell citizenship. America is under sale officially. Jacko Kruger, thank you for the sub, man. Hey, good morning, Vic. Good morning. What do you think of the BRICS, #BRICS unit crypto trading? I've not heard of this. What is that? BRICS unit is a gold-anchored digital trade currency designed for cross-border settlement. It launched coincides with record public anxiety about dollar debasement, as shown in Google Trends data shared by Bloomberg. The prototype uses 40% gold and 60% BRICS currency basket that adjusts daily. See, it's a gold-anchored digital trade currency. Just like we mentioned on stream today, like money is worthless without gold, right? So we have here now a gold-anchored digital trade currency, which is also something we spoke about, how governments are going to want to have their own digital currency eventually. So things like crypto are only going to be used for people to conserve their wealth, for the wealthy to conserve their wealth. So it's never going to go down to zero, but it's never going to have that application or utility that crypto heads might think it has, because we're just going to end up having a gold-anchored digital trade currency that is by the government. Because now the government using that will be able to track your spending a lot more efficiently, because it's harder to track cash. When you give people cash, you can't track cash. You know, the government doesn't like that. So that's where I think we're heading. And if if that's where we're heading, then I think this is something that can go up. Wow, we have President of South Africa here. We have Modi from India. We have South Korea. No, China. There's a Chinese president over here. Xi Jinping, and we have Putin, and we have this guy. Who is this guy? Who's this guy in the middle? This is a Italian guy? Just a random guess. Probably. Who is this chat? Who is this guy in the middle here? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be so obvious I'm going to look dumb. Its launch coincides with the record public anxiety about dollar displacement. All right, nice. As of December 8th, 2025. All right, so we got... that's Egypt. Oh, wait, no. That's not Egypt. Got excited over there. As December 8th, 2025, the BRICS Alliance, a bloc of 10 full members including Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the UAE, have launched the unit. Oh, sounds like Transformers here. Aiming to hit the heart or like Power Rangers. Remember Power Rangers? They look like Power Rangers. Aiming to hit the heart of Western monetary hegemony. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's about time we got a world, what's it called? A market shift. The world Radalio. The changing world order. The concept centers on a gold-anchored digital instrument designed to reroute trillions in trade away from the US dollar. Holy. But isn't the US like one of the only countries who can actually print money out of thin air? So it's not a wise idea to just completely get rid of them. But I guess that's the idea behind this BRICS. Maybe it's going to be more stable. That we might not need to do that. As a result, public interest in dollar debasement or the erosion of a dollar's purchasing power has reached a new peak. Gold trends data shared by Bloomberg Opinion shows an unprecedented spike in searches for the term during the final quarter. It's the most Googled thing in from 2015 to 2025. I think where's Andrew Tate on this scale over here? Andrew Tate was the most Googled person in what year? Was it 2021, somewhere around here? No. I think it was 2023-ish, somewhere here. Gonna have an Andrew Tate spike. Man, look at the size of that compared to everything else. What was this? This was in sometime in between 2017 and 2018. Wow, this is serious, man. Look at the size of that thing. So can we trade this? Is there a chart where we can look at it? Very interesting. Do you still trade GJ? No, not this year. No. But I think I'm going to end off the stream here, everybody. I appreciate you all tuning in. Looks like price not giving me the trend that I want to see, at least here towards the tail end. So I will see you all for Freaky Friday tomorrow. And hopefully by then the daily time frame can do what it needs to do, which is create a support and then continue to move upwards like we basically had, again, same scenario that we had in August, Friday, 22nd. When Powell spoke, we got a bearish candle and then a bullish extension. So that's what we're kind of anticipating as we end off the week over here. So I appreciate everybody showing up, and I will see you all tomorrow. Adios. Take care.
Pull up